Tonight, new Defence Minister Christopher Pyne makes a flying visit to the Spencer Gulf to celebrate GFG Whyala's first anniversary. And celebrity scientist Dr. Karl set to pay Port Pirie school kids a very special visit next month.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. GFG has celebrated 1 year of owning the Whyala Steelworks with a special event this morning. New Defence Minister Christopher Pyne made a flying visit to the Steel City and joined employees and owner Sanjeev Gupta to mark the occasion.
Only a man like Sanjeev Gupta can pull a crowd like this. Politicians from all sides, contractors, unions and community members gathered to say happy birthday to GFG Alliance. This celebration was a little smaller than last year's handover, but the focus was still on the workers keeping the plant going.
There's no industry without its workers, and they are the key part of the current and the future of this business. And
GFG used the day to also unveil its new global branding, bringing all its operations under the one name and also putting the One Steel brand into the history books. And it won't be the only change, with Mr. Gupta ready to bring the Whyala Steelworks into the 21st century, with upskilling youth a key focus.
We've come up with some ideas, some of them are quite wild. It needs to become a fun place, it needs to become a younger place, it needs to become a place for the future.
And Mr. Gupta says the plans aren't stopping at the steelworks gates, with the city itself to be revitalised.
But you can't actually run it without the right skills, and those you can't just buy. They need to be nurtured and developed over time.
New Defence Minister Christopher Pyne was a keen observer, hinting Whyala will play a role in the $200 billion defence build.
Do as much of that as possible here in Australia, building our Australian industry. That requires steel, it requires fabrication.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Port Augusta police have charged a 42-year-old man and a 24-year-old woman following an investigation into illicit drugs. Detectives allegedly found a quantity of methamphetamine at a Stirling North property, as well as drug paraphernalia and $20,000 in cash. The man was refused bail while the woman was granted bail and will appear in court at the end of next month. The Southern Flinders Ranges is expected to get an eco-tourism boost from the creation of a new hiking trail. The proposed track will link the underutilised Napperby Gorge with the famed Hyson Trail.
The Southern Flinders Ranges is a diamond in the rough, often overlooked by tourists for its northern counterpart. But a newly proposed plan to create a hiking trail through the Napperby Gorge may give the region the attention it deserves.
Pirie, I think, is ideally located as you say, the gateway to the Southern Flinders. It's a great place for people to stay in the region and visit the surrounding areas. So
the Flinders Ranges economy draws in a whopping $379 million each year, and the Port Pirie Regional Council is planning to tap into that market.
We are scoping the project, and then we'll also do the work on the project through the Port Pirie Regional Council, which will be an important trail.
It's hoped that the new hiking trail will draw tourists from around the state and even from overseas.
We start to work towards doing a number of trails across the Southern Flinders to increase the possibility of some fantastic tourism options for not only South Australians but people from across Australia.
Its construction will focus on looking after the local flora and fauna.
We're looking at keeping it we're looking at minimising the impacts that the trail will have on the natural environment and make people feel more like they're within the environment.
Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
Bryony Angkor will be undertaking an epic 1,200-kilometre solo hike across the Hyson Trail. It's all in a bid to raise awareness for narcolepsy, a rare autoimmune disease which affects 3 million people worldwide.
So I'm doing it for Narcolepsy Australia, which is a grassroots charity that works on getting better treatment options for narcolepsy into Australia.
She will spend the remainder of the week passing through Crystal Brook, Melrose and Corn. So far, she has raised over $2,000. If you would like to make a donation, follow Bryony's Facebook page, Plan B Hiker. Still to come tonight, Port Augusta Council's push for a public arts policy to bring more vibrancy to the town, and celebrity scientist Dr. Carl set to pay Port Pirie a very special visit, letting school kids in on some fun and freaky facts about the town. That's coming up. Centre Alliance MP Frank Pangallo says local farmers need more support during this dry period. He's visiting the EP as part of his party's listening tour and claims the agricultural industry is crying out for support.
Frank Pangallo spent 2 decades hounding pollies. Now he's on the other side of the camera. The ex-Journo Upper House member is making the regions a focus of his job.
We're in the Riverland. This week we find ourselves on the west coast. We've already been to the southeast, and I'll continue to do that.
He's visiting the EP, meeting with locals about their issues. As parts of the region suffer through a prolonged dry spell, Pangallo says local farmers are crying out for more government support.
They are calling on the state government to have parts of the state declared drought affected so that they can access assistance, for a number of things.
Another concern for residents is a controversial nuclear waste site which will be at Hawker or Kimber. While he sees the benefits of the dump, he says community members must have the final say.
It needs to be buried somewhere, and if there is strong community support for this facility, whether it be in Kimber or the Flinders Ranges, we think it should go in.
His party also remains opposed to rate capping. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Lifeline Broken Hill is encouraging locals to come down to the opening of its annual art exhibition tonight. The event showcases a range of different works from local artists and is a major fundraiser for the service.
This is an opportunity for us to raise important funds for suicide prevention, but as people will be aware that at this stage going through country regional South Australia, New South Wales, that people are doing it really tough with the drought. So we're hoping that we can raise some additional funds so that we can put some resources into those communities.
The exhibition opens tonight at the city's Geo Centre. All works are up for sale and will be on display until mid-September. Giant murals and painted park benches could become future art projects in Port Augusta, with the council drafting a public arts policy. The council says the policy will create guidelines for future public art, and they believe it could be a way to increase vibrancy in the CBD.
It'd be great if we can have a policy in place and we could actually achieve some great things around town, but also engage many of our local artists as well in some of these projects.
One idea is to paint the wall behind Big W, which council describes as a big blank canvas. The North Broken Hill Fire Station has welcomed a new permanent firefighter. Brendan Martin had his first shift as a full-time firey this week after completing 13 weeks of training. He's hit the ground running, even showing off his skills with a fire hose this morning, and says he's doing what he loves.
Just a job I've always wanted to do. To help the community of Broken Hill and even the community of New South Wales, it's just always been good, and people give you a lot of respect when you wear the uniform and drive around in the truck, and they know when we turn up that they're going to get helped out.
Brendan says the station is always looking for more volunteer and permanent firefighters to join up. Celebrity scientist Dr. Carl is set to pay Port Pirie a very special visit next month. He'll educate students about all things science, as well as some fun and freaky facts about Port Pirie's very own lead smelter and Shaka the shark.
The man with all the answers when it comes to everything science is making his way to Port Pirie for a day full of entertainment and fun facts about our region.
Port Pirie is special. Did you know that it's one of the only 2 lead refineries in the whole world?
The fun talks will be centred around everything Port Pirie knows and loves.
Talking a little bit about the fact that lead is there and just how to deal with it properly by basic things such as hand washing.
He'll be meeting with primary school students in the morning, secondary school students in the afternoon, and then an evening presentation at 8 o'clock here at the Northern Festival Centre.
The highlight of the night will be centred around the town's very own 1.5-tonne, 5-metre great white shark, Shaka. Did you know Shaka's liver makes up for 20% of her body weight?
The great white shark eats the food and then it cooks it. And the way that it cooks it is by redirecting blood from the exercising muscles into a net of blood vessels around the stomach so that the stomach then heats up.
Dr. Karl is set to educate the audience about other great moments in science and technology as well.
Science and technology makes up over 60% of the income of Australia. Did you know that Australia invented Wi-Fi?
Primary and high school students will also have the opportunity to quiz Dr. Karl in an open Q&A session. He'll take to the Northern Festival Centre's stage in mid-September.
This is the only South Australian tour booking that he has, so the opportunity to see the man live is one that comes along very rarely, so hopefully it will draw people to the region.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Gotta love Dr. Karl. Stay with us after the break. It's set to be a big weekend of local footy with AFL Broken Hill and the Spencer Golf League holding their grand finals. We'll take a look at the lineups for all the sides playing and hear from the captains and coaches.
And we could see some showers this weekend. I'll have all the local weather details soon.
Welcome back. The Spencer Golf football season is set for an epic conclusion with South Augusta taking on Solomon Town at Central Oval. Solies will be looking for revenge after going down to Souths in last year's grand final.
After 18 big weekends of footy in the Spencer Golf, it all comes down to this. A blockbuster clash between the undefeated South Augusta Bulldogs against the underdogs, the Solomon Town Cats. And we all know the emotions a grand final can bring out of players.
Nervous.
You nervous?
Oh, yeah, not too bad. Not at the moment anyway.
The Bulldogs putting the finishing touches on the training park ahead of Saturday's big game. They say they need their star players to perform on game day.
You definitely look towards Matt Downey, the ruckman, Lionel Brown at full forward.
No team has truly tested Souths this season, although they are wary of the unpredictable threat the Cats pose. For Solies, their blueprint to success lies in the midfield.
Corey Davey, John O'Hayes, Big Rolly Bernard in the ruck, and a few others chime in, will be good.
But everyone knows a grand final can throw a few curveballs.
Got to be in it to win it, so see what happens, go out there and give our best.
Souths are hoping for a victory, which would seal a historic 3 back-to-back premiership titles.
Yeah, fingers crossed, that'd be nice.
Grand final day will kick off at 9 a.m. with the under-15s. The under-18s and second grade will follow after. The first bounce in the main game is scheduled for 2:40. Now for the local verdict ahead of the weekend's action, here's Footy Tips.
Hello and welcome to the grand final edition of SGL Footy Tips. In a bonus for the league, every club has a side playing, which should see a huge crowd this Saturday at Port Augusta's Central Oval. It's the big one, with an undefeated South taking on Solly. South have been the best performed side all season and will start this match as firm favourites. Sollies have worked hard to get themselves into this position and will need a lot to go right if they are to cause an upset in this match. I've tipped with my head all year, but tonight I'm going with the heart. Come on the Cats.
The top two teams, North Whyalla and West Whyalla, do battle on Saturday at Bennett Oval. West did finish top, but oddly in the 4 times they played North, they didn't get a win. Lost 3 times and got a draw. Saying that, North want to make sure they win this one because if they lose, they have been known to lose to teams below them on the ladder. Surely North, given that they've won 3 times already this year, will have to be favourites. The elimination final on Sunday is South Whyalla versus Reina Bay. Again, this is a toss of the coin. Bays on their day can tear teams apart. I think South have been a little bit more consistent. They've got a couple of pretty handy players and previous medal winners, particularly in Big Phillips, and I think the Demons will get across the line.
And in Broken Hill, South will be looking for back-to-back A-grade premierships tomorrow as they take on North at Jubilee Oval. Patrick Reinke joins us now from the Jube. And Pat, what's it like down there?
Oh, Abby, you can feel the electricity in the air. There is nothing quite like a grand final. 2 rivals, North and South. They've been the front runners all season, and tomorrow they will square off in the big dance. South will undoubtedly be the favourites after going through the season undefeated. Taking a look at the side they have on the park, it's looking full strength. Up forward, you have Cody Shawn, who has scored 74 goals this season. They have a solid back 6 featuring Marcus O'Brien and young Angus Collins, but it's the midfield where South will really do the damage. With the likes of Marcus Purcell, Jordan Johns and Matt Reevil, it's going to be a tough day for North's on ballers. But don't rule out the blue and white. They're no stranger to grand finals. Anthony Henderson and Josh and Dylan Jones all all know how to kick a goal, while their defence can certainly match it with the Roos. And in the Guts you have 6-time Lionel Johnston medal winner Jaden Kelly. With Eddie Morgan and Quinton Bevan, they are no pushovers. I caught up with both coaches ahead of the grand final.
Team that we picked, we think it's good enough to beat South. Look, obviously they've been the best team all year, but at this stage we think, yeah, we're right around the mark and they should be starting to worry.
When we haven't got the footy, everyone's to, find a man, get close to someone. So, when we win the footy, we spread well and we use the footy well. So at the end of the day, it's just play our style and the scoreboard should take care of itself.
And our local tipster has had his say on the grand final.
It's grand final weekend in Broken Hill this weekend at the Jube. Sees North take on South. South haven't lost a game all year. North have been strong in factors. I think it'll be a close game, as grand finals always are, but I think it'll be South by 30 to 40 points on Saturday here at the Jube.
So, Abby, it's shaping up to be a fantastic day here tomorrow. 5 grand finals in total, and it starts with the under-13s in the morning. Good luck to all the teams playing tomorrow.
Thanks, Pat. What a weekend of footy. And time now for the weather with Amy.
Thanks for that, Abby, and a happy Friday to you. Forecasted showers across the region today, with maximums dropping slightly. 20 in Port Augusta, 19 for Whyalla, while temperatures in Broken Hill sat just a degree below. And before we look at the satellite, Red Doherty managed to capture this great snap of people enjoying their afternoon at Port Germain. We love seeing all your snaps, so if you have one you'd like to share, you can send it through to localnews@sca.com.au. On the satellite now, and cloud over central and southeastern SA with a trough and cold front is generating rain and the odd thunderstorm. Cloud over the west is triggering a few thundery showers also. Clearer to the northeast under high pressure. If you're out on the waters this weekend, southerly winds will get between 15 and 20 knots, with seas reaching 2 metres. Early birds can catch the sunrise at 6:40, while it's setting at 6 p.m. The chance of showers across the Spencer Gulf as we kick off the weekend. 17 for both Port Augusta and Whyalla, Woodna and Port Lincoln sitting at 16 degrees. The weather should fine up early next week in Port Lincoln, Tuesday reaching 20 degrees. Cleve and Woodna also expecting sunny days with maximums into the low 20s as possible showers clear late into the weekend. Whyalla will see some sunshine and a top of 21 next week, while Port Augusta will only be a slightly warmer on Tuesday. Kadina will be a little cooler, however the sun is expected to hang around. Port Perry will see a top of 22 on Tuesday. Temperatures in Clare will rise after a cool weekend, and a forecast of 16. In Broken Hill, cloudy skies are set to clear by Tuesday for a sunny 19 degrees. So make sure you've got your umbrella handy this weekend, however sunshine is on the way.
Thanks, Amy, and that's all the local news this Friday. Thanks for your company. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.